Jeremy from jeremy.net. So I am showing you some inking from the previous issue of Morningstar issue 6. And as I'm looking at these pages, I'm thinking that it's interesting. I watched when I get in here and I'm drawing these wings, that the way I draw wings has continued to change throughout the series. And even the way I'm drawing them now, the most recent cover that I was working on, that digital painting, that one, I even draw the wings a little bit differently there than I've been drawing them here. And it got me thinking about evolving style versus consistency. So, yeah, the way that I draw wings has continued to change, and I continue to go back and forth between drawing simplified conceptual ideas of wings, almost like a cartoon of them, versus looking at reference and trying to make them look more realistic. In the grander scheme of things, this is something that I used to struggle with a lot, trying to keep a consistent look throughout a comic book series or versus trying to improve and branch out. I've never been particularly good at staying on model when working on any type of long-form project. So, many of the looks of my characters or their facial features continue to shift over the course of a story. And I believe that there is a very strong argument to be made for maintaining the consistent look of a particular piece of work, maintaining a consistent style over the course of a particular issue, not just an issue, but over the course of a comic book series or a body of work. That said, I personally have chosen to err more on the side of experimentation. Now, I want to make clear here, this is a personal choice. I'm not saying everyone should experiment and continue to make everything look different and, your audience be damned. That is not how I feel at all. In fact, when I said that I used to struggle with it, the way that I eventually came about this was thinking that, is that even though I'm drawing this book for an audience, I want it to be read, I want people to enjoy it, at the same time, I'm also drawing it for me as an artist to learn and grow from the creative process. And part of the learning and growing is trying out different things to see what happens if I take the same character and render their wings one way on this page versus, well, how does it look if I render it on another page? And sometimes it's me trying two different rendering styles and saying, oh, well, I see which one looks better, so I'm going to use this other style. Sometimes it's me trying a different process and it not coming out the way that I envisioned or coming out the way I imagined. So I go back and forth. What's funny is that you're only going to see this page right here for a second. I'm doing a little bit of whiteout cleanup on it, adding some horns to this. And I kind of shift back and forth between that page and another page that I move on to working on. And, I'm shifting back and forth because I'm letting one dry while I go and ink parts of another page, then come back to this. But back to style and consistency. So, I've definitely received constructive criticism on the lack of consistency in my art style. And that really is more towards, people have said that about my art prints, the pieces I sell, like the single standalone images, as opposed to the comic book work. But the biggest reason why I lean towards experimentation is because I don't think my style is baked in yet. I don't think that I have a quote-unquote look. And part of developing that look, a lot of artists really concern themselves with, well, I need to find my style. And I think it is important to have a recognizable look to your work so that people know your work when they see it. I think that's what we all want, is to develop that type of recognition. But I have found throughout all of my studying in art that the best way to learn is to have a variety of options, and have to play with those options and figure out what works for me, because what works for one artist doesn't work for another. That's why there are so many different styles and so many, almost an infinite number of looks and variations on looks, and why you can take a tried and true technique, and if you can find an interesting way to express yourself, your own personal worldview through your art, you can take something that seemed old and make it new again. Like photo reference. For the longest time, I avoided using photo reference. I didn't like the results that it gave me in my work. It looked very traced and stiff, whether I was tracing the work or not. It just, didn't really come out looking that well. And I think I've spoke about this before when I've talked about figure drawing. For me, figure drawing was the key. Taking life drawing classes was the key to learning how to use reference and how to make it feel alive and breathe. Because part of the process of taking figure drawing classes and drawing from a live model is to learn how to communicate the action that they're performing without needing to trace the exact pose that they're showing. And that process of doing that with a live model taught me how to do that with reference. So now I can look at a photo, or I can take some photos that'll show me the skeleton, the volume, the lighting, the anatomical structures that I need to put down in a page. But I can still tweak them a little bit, change them up, and bring in some of that personal flair that we like to think of as style. But for me, it's not even necessarily about being stylistic as it is trying to capture an energy, because that's really what a lot of storytelling, whether it's a comic book series or a standalone image, is about. It's about capturing a moment, capturing a magic, making someone feel something, and that's kind of what the nature of story is. If I do reach a point where I have a style that's recognizable, I don't want to stagnate and draw the same stock poses over and over again for the rest of my life, the same expressions. I would like to think that I would continue to evolve and grow and continue to try new stuff. I think that my long-term goal as an artist is to eventually reach the point where I can produce artwork that is instantly recognizable as mine. You can see it and say, yeah, that's a Jeremy Burley piece. It's a Jeremy Burley comic page or a print or an image. But yet, to still always be able to surprise the viewer in some way, to bring something that's new, a little different wrinkle. They're like, oh, hey, he's trying something there. I see this. This is interesting. So both recognizability, but also bringing surprise in my work. Thanks for watching. If you enjoy these videos, please like and share them. Visit my resources page for free creativity tools and comic books at resources.jeremy.net. That's resources.gerimi.net. Also, visit my main website, jeremy.net, where you can buy my comic books, art prints, and more. There's also links to my Instagram, Twitter, and other social media accounts. That's it for now. Go be creative.